Hey everyone, it's your buddy back again with another exciting fanfic, which is what if Naruto, Heartbroken, left the village and later married Ino. Part 1 Naruto x Ino. If you enjoy this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fanfics like this. Now, let's dive right into the fanfic. Many villagers and ninja were waiting around the main gate of Konoha. Tsunade was there, as was Sakura, Shino, Ino, Tenten, Guy, Kakashi, Kurenai, Asuma, and some of the council. The original Ino Shika Cho team was there, as well as Iruka and the Ichiraku man. They were all waiting for the rescue team to return and bring them their Uchiha back. There they are, shouted a guard. Everyone turned their attention to the path outside the gate. A couple figures came into view, but you could not tell who it was yet. I hope it's Sasuke, Sakura thought to herself. When the figures arrived, it was Gaara and his siblings. Gaara had sand floating behind him, carrying Kiba and Akamaru on one, Shugi on another, Lee fully enclosed in one, and Neji was on the last. Shikamaru was draped over Temari's shoulder. Who is in the worst shape? Tsunade said in a voice that let everyone know she was Hokage and she was in charge. Gaara replied in a flat voice. They all are suffering chakra depletion. Neji has a large wound in his left shoulder and multiples others. Shugi has severe chakra depletion. And Kiba has many wounds. He is in the best shape of them, but they all need treatment. Guy stepped forward. What about Lee? How bad are his wounds? Lee is fine, he was just drunk. What? Who gave him alcohol? Tsunade smashed him over the head, effectively shutting him up. Shikamaru lifted his head. Shugi took all 3 pills. The Ino Shika Cho team all dashed forward. They knew what that meant and the dangers with it. Quick, give him this, as Shikaku pulled a pill from his pouch. The pill was given to Shugi and he swallowed with the help of Inoichi, relaxing his throat muscles. He will be fine now, he just needs some rest, besides he's already up. Shikaku said with a smile as Shugi opened his eyes to see his father and his team. Tsunade and the others began working on the rest of them. Shikamaru had been set on the ground and Temari was helping him sit. Kankuro had sat on the other side of Gaara as he was still standing with his arms crossed. But where is Sasuke? You guys were supposed to get him, what happened to him? Sakura screamed. The villagers also began to murmur about their Uchiha. The older ninja were more concerned about Naruto though. Well, what happened? You guys failed, didn't you? Sakura was now furious. Sand quickly surrounded Sakura, and before anyone could react, Sakura was covered to her head with sand. If you do not silence yourself, I will do it for you. Gaara replied. Besides, Naruto went after him, Kankuro said while fixing one of his puppets. Yay, right. Like Naruto could beat Sasuke, Sakura said. Kakashi just slapped his forehead. And the other side. Sakura was about to continue when she felt the sand around her tighten. Oh, where it began to hurt. I was not kidding. Whether we be allies or not, I owe Naruto more than this whole village. Gaara replied, still looking towards the path. One hour later. Neji was now stabilized with help from Tsunade and Shizune. Lee was on Guy's shoulders smiling. Shugi was next to Shikamaru talking, and Kiba was being tended to by Hinata, and Shino was talking with him. The rest of the ninja were still waiting, and the villagers were confident about their Uchiha returning. I see something coming, shouted the guard again. This time it was Naruto with Sasuke knocked out and in terrible shape over his shoulder with tightly bound ropes. Naruto was just as bruised and injured. I knew he could do it, he is after all the most surprising ninja of Konoha. Whispered some Junin. The villagers were disgusted. Naruto dropped Sasuke on the ground. Here you are, Sakura-chan, just like I promised. Naruto was too tired to even scratch the back of his head, so he just stood there with his arms at his side. Naruto quickly, have some ramen, as Teuchi gave him a large bowl that was still hot. Naruto began to eat the bowl. What, Naruto, look what you did to him, he's almost dead, you could have killed him, what were you thinking? Sakura was screaming. She suddenly knocked the bowl out of his hands and punched him straight in the face. Naruto fell to the ground and put his hand to his face. Why did you do this to him? Sakura-cha. Naruto tried to say but was cut off. You probably used that red chakra to beat him. There is no way you are strong enough, as she kicked him. All of the ninja were pissed now and waiting to see what happened. The villagers were loving it. Ino approached Sakura. Sakura, what are you doing? He just brought Sasuke back after he was captured, and this is how you treat him. Ino yelled. Ino had lost her love for Sasuke and had began to admire Naruto as well as some of the other ninja. What are you talking about, Ino? I'll bet he didn't do anything and the rest of them did all the work. Sakura said as she moved to kick Naruto again. Sand exploded from all around and covered Sakura, lifting her of the ground, as Gaara walked between Naruto and her. If you make another move on Uzumaki, I will kill you, allies or not. Sakura let a laugh escape. You are just mad because Sasuke beat you, just like in the Chunin exams. For your information, this Uchiha was completely useless in his attempt to stop me. Gaara paused and a smirk grew on his face. Naruto could probably take on this whole village if he had to. You're lying. You just don't want to admit defeat to Sasuke. The villagers began to yell towards Gaara. Gaara once again had his bored look on his face as he continued. You think I lie? Well then let me tell you about it. The ninja were now intently listening. He first was able to place a exploding tag where my armor was thinnest, where the Uchiha could not even touch me. Uzumaki created over 2,000 shadow clones that beat me to a pulp before I transformed. When I did transform, he summoned some frog named Gamabunta that matched me in power. The ninja were now amazed and held respect for Naruto, seeing as only 2 people have been able to summon the boss frog. Jiraiya of the legendary Sannin and the Yondaime. There is more. When I used 100% of my power, Uzumaki called on even more strength and transformed not only himself but also Gamabunta into a 9-tailed fox when they could not take hold of me. The villagers were now scared, and some of the older ninja at the mention of the Kyuubi. He then beat me with a headbutt to the forehead. Gaara replied as he dropped Sakura to the ground and looked over at Naruto. The villagers still thought he was lying, so they needed to expose him somehow. The villagers began to yell at Naruto, calling him demon and wishing death upon him, but were quickly silenced by Tsunade and the Anbu. Naruto still had his hand to his face where Sakura punched him. The rest of the Rookie 9 and Guy's team were now in front of Naruto except for Sasuke and Sakura. It was eerily silent. Naruto stood. His face was now full of anger and fury, but it turned to a smile. Then I am leaving. The villagers cheered and the ninja were confused. I can't believe that I go out and capture the Uchiha who left of his own free will and even put a Chidori through my chest. He glanced at Kakashi, and then bring him back and then get screamed at for doing it. Naruto said with sarcasm. Everyone was confused. He left of his own free will to Orochimaru because he thought the leaf was weak. Naruto laughed. Well, I guess I showed him. Well, like I said, I am leaving this village, and Ba-chan, if you send who? I want Brat, but you better come visit. Naruto smiled. Well, I am off to start my own village. Everyone was shocked except for Tsunade. Anyone want to come? I will, screamed Teuchi as he hurriedly rushed with a yame to behind Naruto. I would lose business if you left, and besides, who want to live in a place where they hate someone for just living, as Teuchi glared at the villagers. Although I am going to need some help getting all my pots and utensils. I got it covered, and Naruto created 30 shadow clones to go get all the stuff from Ichiraku. I will go as well, traditions or not, Neji said as he joined Naruto. We are coming, Gaara said flatly as he and his siblings joined Naruto. Are we gonna be allies with Leaf? Shikamaru asked. With the ninja, yes. Villagers, maybe, Naruto replied, smirking. I'm in then. Me too. If they go, I am coming, Ino said as she glanced at Naruto. Shugi, Ino, and Shikamaru moved too. He'll need a lot of help doing what he wants, replied Shikamaru with a lazy tone. And of course we'll visit, said Shugi in response to the look their parents were giving him. You dare betray the Konoha? You are all genin and chunin, said a council member stepping forward. They are going whether you like it or not, and if anyone wants to stop them they have to go through me, Tsunade said facing the crowd. 10-10, Kiba, Shino and Hinata moved as well. We will be in touch, father, was all Shino said as he moved. Guy-sensei, I wish to go along with my friends but do not wish to leave you, what should I do? Lee, you go, be with your friends, Guy screamed. I will come back, sensei, Lee said as he and Guy began their ritual. Tsunade walked forward. Brat, you better not get killed, Shikamaru, take care of him. Troublesome. I'll be fine, Ba-chan. Naruto stepped forward and gave her a huge hug. I'll see you again, tell the pervy sage too. They all began walking away from the village as soon as the clones returned carrying all of the ramen equipment and supplies. Naruto was in the lead with Shikamaru at his side and Shugi and Neji were being carried on stretchers by some clones. Everyone else was in a group behind them just walking along. Ino had moved towards the front and got as close to Naruto as she could before making it obvious. So, Naruto, where do you plan on going? Or are we starting a village from scratch? Shikamaru asked. Naruto put on one of his biggest smiles. Have you ever been to the land of waves? Everyone was walking the path towards wave country. Naruto was in the lead and Shikamaru and Shino were at his sides. Naruto had created 4 clones and they were carrying Neji and Shugi and 30 clones carrying the Ichiraku supplies and equipment. Shugi was awake now and conversing with Tuchi and Ayame about foods and recipes. 10-10, Tamari and Ino were talking about who knows what, and Hinata was tending to a now awake Neji. Kiba and Akamaru were jumping through the trees, playing tag, followed by an energetic Lee. Gaara and Kankuro were bringing up the rear. Naruto was happy inside because for once he was thinking about his own village, a new village, one free of prejudice and hate towards people. He silently vowed that he would make it a joyful place for all its inhabitants. Naruto couldn't believe that all of his friends were coming along with him, the dead last. Naruto knew that he had proven himself, but was still overjoyed about it all. Naruto was wearing a fox smile and looked to Shikamaru. So Shikamaru, how come you decided to come? Everyone stopped their own conversations and looked towards the front. Shikamaru felt everyone's eyes on him and sighed, troublesome. Well, the village council has been getting ahead of itself because of Tsunade being the new Hokage. They feel that she is not doing a good job and is going to try and get her out of power and elect Danzo as the new Hokage. But that's only part of the village council, right? Ino asked. Of course, the clan heads of the Hyuga, Akamichi, Aruame, Nara, Yamanaka, and Inuzuka all disagree. They know of Tsunade's skill as a warrior and feel that she is the most qualified for the position. Besides, if Danzo was chosen, he would be a weak Hokage, especially with only one arm, Shikamaru continued. True. He has been trying to gain power ever since the Sandaime, Shino interjected. And how do you know that, Shino? 10-10 asked. My father keeps me informed about the council and village matters. He says what happens if they die, who then will take on responsibility for the village. Wow, Shino, that's the most I've ever heard you say in a week, Naruto said, chuckling. Everyone else joined in and Shino smiled, although no one could see it. Everyone was bitten by a bug that caused them to immediately stop laughing and get rid of the bug. As they were trying, the bugs flew back to Shino and he kept walking. Nice move, Shino, Naruto said, still laughing. Oh, and Shikamaru, you never really gave us a reason that you left. Ino said, jabbing him in the stomach. Troublesome, I was hoping you would forget. Tsunade kind of gave it to me as a mission to take care of Naruto. Shikamaru said as he jumped behind Ino. The old hag did what? Naruto yelled and charged Shikamaru but stopped when he saw that he was behind Ino. Ino looked him in the eyes and blushed as she quickly looked away and turned Naruto around. Let's keep going, I would like to get there today. I have never been to the land of waves, Ino said, pushing Naruto forward. Okay, we are going. Naruto started walking again. Well, that is Shikamaru's reason. What about the rest of you? Naruto said as he turned his head backward. I did it to get free of the Hyuga clan rules that separate the houses. I will create a new Hyuga that are not divided, and I'm sure Hinata would help. Besides, Tsunade removed the seal when I was being healed from the last battle, meaning no one had power over me, Neji called from his stretcher. I came for the new ideas, and besides, my father kind of suggested it. He said I could grow stronger and that if this village were to blossom it would need help. You are the strongest fighter among us, Naruto, but probably the worst in organizing and handling things. Shino said, still smiling from the bug bites. He, I guess you got me there, Naruto said, smiling while scratching his head. You idiot, Ino said as she bonked him over the head. Naruto laughed more and jogged ahead to escape Ino. I wasn't done with you yet, Ino screamed as she took off after him. Naruto saw this and took off sprinting. Woo go Naruto, Kiba called and Hinata smacked him in the back of the head. 5 minutes and Ino will be dragging Naruto back, Ten said, laughing. 10 minutes, Naruto is kind of fast, you know, Neji called. Want to bet on it? Ten said. Sure, Ten, Neji said, smiling. Fine, but you are lucky you are still injured, Ten said, struggling to contain herself from smacking Neji. So what does the winner get? Neji asked. Being a slave for the winner for 2 hours, Ten said, smirking. You're on. Less than 30 seconds, Tucci said, smiling evilly. No way, Naruto is not that slow, Shugi said. Everyone was now watching the bet. You're on, Neji and Ten chorused. I never said that, Tucci said as he moved to the front of the group and cupped his hands over his mouth. F free RRRAAMMMEEEENNNN, his deep voice bellowed. Everyone looked ahead and saw a large cloud of dust kick up, and then everyone was amazed to see Naruto standing there with Ino in his arms, bridal style, and her arms around her neck. Where's the ramen? He said as if in a frenzy. Everyone was either smirking at the predicament that they were in or mouths gaping from Naruto's speed, and Kiba was about to say something but was interrupted. WOOO, score 1 for the old man, Tucci sang as he danced around the group, and Ayame chuckled as the rest were staring with wide eyes as they had never seen anyone move that fast. Seems I know Naruto, no don't I, Tucci said, rubbing it in. I can't believe that we are his slaves, Ten whined, and Neji just smacked his forehead. What was I, some kind of bet? Naruto said, still holding Ino. Yep, and you lost it for me, Naruto. Neji said. Oops, sorry Neji, Naruto said. Let's keep moving, Shino said as he started in the lead. Everyone walked by and Naruto turned to follow until he realized he was still carrying Ino. Oh sorry Ino, want me to put you down? Naruto asked. Ino thought about it. I am actually kind of tired, would you mind carrying me? Ino left out that she was waiting for a day at the gate for them to return from their mission, thus she was exhausted. No problem, but would you rather be on my back? Naruto said, trying to be a gentleman. No, I am fine here, she said, and laid her head against his chest and closed her eyes, drifting off to sleep. When Naruto caught up to the rest of them, Ino was asleep and everyone turned to look at them, and the boys smirked while the girls, awed over it, and Kiba and Kankuro both made catcalls, which earned them another smack from Hinata and Tamari. Shikamaru still wanted to get the reasons for the rest of them leaving, broke the silence. Well, what about you, Lee? Lee looked down to the ground, saddened. You guys are my only real friends besides Guy-sensei and some of the Junin, and if you left I would be all alone. Everyone was saddened at what Lee had said until Naruto broke the silence. Don't worry Lee, I've got the same reason, you all are my best friends, Naruto said, which cheered everyone up. Tucci smiled, for even though he was a ramen chef, he had great observation skills. For you can't live in a village full of ninja and not pick up some skills. And he was witnessing one of Naruto's many outstanding talents. Okay Shugi, what about you? Tucci said, changing the conversation. I couldn't leave Ino and Shikamaru, they are like family to me. And after that mission when we risked our lives for Sasuke and then bring him back and then get looked down upon for doing so, besides a new village would be cool. Everyone recalled the events from the village, and how the rescuers were shunned. Okay, Ten, what about you? Naruto called. She looked at Neji quickly and then back forward. There has to be some women in this village to keep the men in line. She was glad she made this up because she really didn't have a reason except for wanting to be with Neji. Everyone shared a laugh at the joke she had made. Kiba. Well, new territory, and like Shugi said, we got belittled for doing a mission to retrieve the damn Uchiha, plus here at this village I would be one of the strongest. Akamaru yipped in agreement. While we are going through the list now, Neji pointed out. Hinata. What about you? Neji asked. Well, I don't like the Hyuga laws and I am trying to prove a point that Hyuga do not need just the Hyuga style and Bukagen to be good ninja. Also I would like to create a new style free from the other Hyuga, Hinata managed without stuttering. What about you three, Gaara, Kankuro and Temari? Naruto said, forgetting that they were there as they had been quiet most of the trip. Temari was looking at Shikamaru when Naruto started talking and was caught looking away. I agree with Ten, someone has to keep you all in line, especially Kankuro. Kankuro just looked at everyone. Well, I had nothing else to do, so why not? This made everyone laugh. He was just doing this because he was bored. I'll bet Gaara made you come, Naruto said, trying to contain his laughter. Yep, Gaara said, which caused everyone to laugh and Kankuro to go after Gaara but was caught up in a ball of sand. You know this is not fair at all. Gaara never gets hit or any of that, Kankuro whined. That's because he doesn't cause trouble like you, Temari pointed out, smacking him again. Besides, I can actually get to Gaara without his sand protecting him. Temari moved towards Gaara and he quickly made hand seals to encase himself in a ball of sand under his control. Well, except when he does that. After everyone had finished any other explanations of why they left and there was silence for a minute, Shino started a new subject. Okay, so Naruto, how are we doing this? Well, my first real mission was here to Wave Country to protect Tazuna, an expert bridge builder, and I met a nice family that took care of us while we were here. They used to be a poor country, but now I think they are a lot better since the bridge was finished. And I think that their village will be the perfect spot for our new ninja village. It has lots of woods, a large river and some small mountains, plus the ocean. Also, we will be able to disguise ourselves as ordinary people if the need ever arrive, seeing as there is no evidence that it will be a ninja village, will keep us safe for the first part. Wow, Naruto, that actually made sense for once, Kiba said. That was actually a very good reason and had lots of advantages, and this man Tazuna, he will help with the new buildings, I guess. Shikamaru asked. Wow, you really are a genius, Shikamaru, Naruto said, smiling. Well, anyway, I was thinking that for the first couple months or so we focus on getting the area secured, designed out and built. I mean, we all can't stay at Tazuna's house, we will have to build our own. And we need food and probably need to divert the river closer to the village. That would be great for water, and there was lots of fish in Wave Country, Naruto replied in a semi-serious tone. Well, you have it all thought out for once, not just charging into something fists raised, Neji said, smirking. Okay, so that's what we got to do first, I guess then, Ten said, clapping her hands. Wait a sec, we will need a cool headband symbol. Kiba said, waving his hands. Only you, Kiba, would think of that, only you, Shino muttered. Everyone stopped and thought about it after a laugh. I guess a simple design of a few waves would work, easily distinguishable and easy to carve. Shino said. Well, there we go, that's settled, Shugi said. Naruto thought it was time to show that he was truly capable of being a leader and that he is in charge of this project. Okay, well, I think that Shugi and old man Ichiraku should be in charge of food. Hinata, Kiba, Kankuro and Shino in charge of scouting the area and securing a boundary. 10-10, Tamari, Ino, and Ayame should be in charge of housing and design seeing as they would complain the most. And me, Gaara and Lee will divert the river and get wood. Neji whenever he gets better will do whatever needs help. Okay, sounds good Naruto, but that stuff will take a long time. 10-10 pointed out. Not for Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto exclaimed. And how are you planning that? Tamari asked. Naruto smiled and said, ever heard of shadow clones? Shikamaru, Shino and Neji all understood and Shino began to explain. Naruto has massive stamina and chakra. He can create over 2,000 shadow clones that would last all day, and all he would need would be some food and rest and he could do it again the next day. This gives us 2,000 manpower each day, so we will be done quickly. Shino finished. Also as he said, we are in charge, so basically we are leading an army of Narutos. Neji's smile grew even bigger, and to think that every time he does this his chakra will increase. Exactly, Naruto will definitely be the leader. His chakra right now is double all of the rest of us put together. By the time we are done I am guessing that he will have so much chakra that very few in this land will compare to him. Man Naruto, you are going to be unbeatable. Kiba said. Naruto smiled and kept walking. He looked down to see Ino still sleeping peacefully in his arms. He enjoyed the feeling, he felt happy. Ino stirred and snuggled closer to him. Shikamaru saw this and leaned close, looks like you got something for her Naruto blushed and leaned back to Shikamaru, I could say the same for you and Tamari. This caused Shikamaru to look away and Naruto jumped behind everyone else. Naruto smiled knowing that Shikamaru had a thing for Tamari, as well as Kiba and Hinata, obviously Neji and 10-10 and he was thinking about Shino and Ayame. Nice Gaki, it's about time you got a vixen. Naruto heard Kyuubi yell in his mind. Naruto sighed and closed his eyes and then found himself in front of Kyuubi. What do you want, Fox? What, I can't have a conversation with my jailer. Kyuubi said smiling with his massive jaws. Well, you actually got a point there. But still, what do you want? Well, as you know, I can see what happens out there and the idea of you starting a ninja village is weird but can work, especially with the bloodlines and abilities you have with you. Naruto just now realized that he had some of the strongest bloodlines from all over the ninja world with him and they were starting a new village. Anyways, I was wondering when you were going to tell them about me and all. You should not keep secrets from them. I guess you are right, I will have to tell them somehow. What way do you think is the easiest? Kyuubi smiled and Naruto ducked to avoid being hit in the head by something. What was that for? Naruto screamed. To test your reflexes. No, you idiot, it was a summoning scroll, now go get it. Naruto quickly went and gathered the scroll and brought it back to in front of Kyuubi. So what do I do? Same as the toads. Yes, just think of foxes or toads, whichever you want to summon at the time. So Naruto signed his name in blood as well as his hand on the scroll and wrapped it up and slid it back to Kyuubi. Cool, foxes and toads now. Alright man, this village is going to be unstoppable. Naruto, I also have something else for you. This seal is converting my chakra into yours, which will make you have almost limitless chakra. You will need to work on chakra control a lot more, okay? And after it absorbs my chakra I will go back to the demon realm, but you will still be able to summon me. Hey, you aren't going to go all destructive on me or anything, right? Of course, here let's make a blood seal on it, this way you can prove it to any of you elders that want to know. Kyuubi wrote it out on paper and signed it by slicing his paw and signing in blood. He slid the scroll to Naruto and he did the same. After they were done, Naruto put the scroll in his pocket. Alright, I will miss all the annoying conversations we had though when you leave. Sure you will, but you still have 2 more years to deal with me. Alright then Kyuubi, I am going to tell them. Naruto turned to leave but turned back around. Wait a sec, can you turn into a smaller fox? Because you walking around all massive like that won't help and will give us away. Of course I can do that, you don't think I am a demon lord for nothing. Now get out. Naruto came back into the real world laughing and everyone was looking at him. What is so funny? Kiba asked. Nothing. Just a joke I remembered, but I have something very important to tell all of you. Naruto woke Ino up and set her down next to him. Well, you all remember the stories of how the Yondaime defeated the Kyuubi in battle and killed it but also lost his life doing so. Everyone nodded but were confused as to what he was talking about. Well, Kyuubi was a demon lord and cannot be killed. So Yondaime did the next best thing, he sealed it. Neji now realized what he was saying as he had seen the red chakra in the Chunin exams. And he had to seal in into a newborn baby seeing as their chakra coils are still developing and could contain the demon lord. So I was chosen as I was born on the same day Kyuubi attacked the village. Naruto finished as he lifted his shirt and channeled chakra to his stomach to show them the seal. Whoa, so that's where your power comes from? Kankuro asked. Gaara interjected. No, the power of the demon is easily identified, the power that Naruto has is from hard work. Kyuubi's power is only when you see the red chakra. Well, how do you know that? Ten asked. Gaara smiled. I also have a demon lord sealed inside me. Everyone was now confused and wondered how this happened. But you are just his jailer, not him, right? Hinata nervously asked. Of course, we are two separate beings. Let me show you, Naruto said smirking as he jumped back from the group. Summoning jutsu, a huge cloud of smoke erupted and everyone shielded their ears when they heard Kyuubi talk. Woo, about time I got out, this feels good. Kyuubi said stretching. Oh yeah, my name is Kyuubi, the nine-tailed fox, and strongest of all demon lords. Naruto noted from atop his head that he was twice the size of Gamabunta. Hey Kyuubi, do you think I should tell Gamabunta? Yay, you should want to do it now. Only if you don't attack him even if he attacks you. Fine. Everyone was amazed to see Naruto talking to the demon lord and did not know he was going to summon Gamabunta. Naruto jumped off of Kyuubi's head and was falling to the ground. Naruto, what are you doing, you idiot? As Ino started to run hoping she would catch him before he hit the ground. Ino was stopped by sand at her ankles and around her waist. Just watch, and Gaara set her down next to him. Summoning jutsu, and a cloud of smoke erupted again, this time half the size of Kyuubi. Jiraiya, is that you? Or is it the idiot? Hey Gamabunta, it's me, Naruto. I want you to meet an old friend but you can't attack. Gamabunta finally saw Kyuubi through the smoke. What, how did he get out? The seal the Yondaime made was unbreakable. Gamabunta said worried as he pulled his dagger. I let him out. Naruto said. What, why did you do that? He will kill us all now. Through a summoning jutsu, Naruto finished and the ground started to shake. Everyone looked over to see Kyuubi laughing and rolling around on the ground. Aw man, you should have seen you face Bunta. Ahahahahahaha, you were terrified. Not good, Naruto thought. Damn brat scaring me and stuff. Alright brat, I am out of here. See you later, Gamabunta said as he disappeared, leaving Naruto to plummet to the ground. Damn it. He did it again. I got you brat, Kyuubi said as one of his tails caught him and set him back down next to his friends. Thanks Kyuubi. Now will you get down before someone sees you and alerts Konoha? Fine, fine, he finished as he erupted in another cloud of smoke, and when it cleared, a small two-tailed fox was sitting on Naruto's shoulder. Well everyone, my name is Kyuubi, so please stop gawking at me. Aw so cute, the girls yelled as they took Kyuubi and began hugging him and petting him. Naruto, help me, I am going to die. Naruto meanwhile was on the floor laughing, holding his sides. Some demon lord, huh? All the guys started to walk again except for Naruto, who went to get Kyuubi. Okay, that's enough, I don't think he likes it. Besides, the rest of them kept walking, Naruto said as he moved to the center and bent down, allowing Kyuubi to jump back on his shoulder. The girls, HMPFED, and ran to catch up to the rest except for Ino. Kyuubi whispered to Naruto, is this the one you like? 'Cause she doesn't seem that smart. Naruto blushed and started running again as Ino chased Kyuubi, who had dug his claws into Naruto's jacket, forcing Naruto to run. The rest of the group was walking again and saw Naruto run by with a laughing Kyuubi followed by an angry Ino. Anyone want to make a bet? Tucci said evilly. No, Ayame said as she bonked him over the head. After Naruto had returned, this time being dragged by Ino, and Kyuubi, still laughing, came jumping down from the tree line, apparently avoiding harm from Ino. The group was still a day's walk from Wave, so they decided to camp here for the night. Alright, I'll get some dinner and wood, be back in 15 minutes. Naruto said before he made his favorite seal. Mass shadow clone. 100 shadow clones poofed into existence, and everyone only had a second to look before they dashed off into the forest, their tasks already in mind. So that's what you meant by a lot, Kiba said as he and Akamaru began to push the twigs and leaves away for a suitable sleeping area. No, he could do that probably 20 more times and still not even tire. He has amazing stamina that is probably more than Lee's, Shikamaru said as he laid down next to a tree and looked up at the sky. Tamari sat to his left and Kankuro was next to Tamari. Crap, no one brought tents, did they? Ten called as she imagined sleeping on the forest floor with nothing but the clothes she has on. Man, good point. 10. No one has anything, we kind of forgot all that at Konoha, Ino pointed out, feeling bad because they were ninja and were supposed to remember this kind of stuff. Everyone stopped all of their talking and looked at Gaara, who had closed his eyes and made a hand seal, and was muttering something. The ground before them began to shake and sand exploded from the ground and became a large mass hovering right above them. He made another seal and the sand formed into a large 2-story house with open windows and doorways. A chimney sprouted from the top and the whole structure was pushed up by 2 inches of sand from the bottom to keep it safe from water. Gaara walked inside and said lazily, "It is going to rain and I do not like getting wet, and there is room for 20 people and we have less than that, so anyone is welcome to join me." What, Gaara, how come you never did this on any missions and I had to sleep in the trees? Kankuro protested. Because it never rained, Gaara called flatly. Good point, Kankuro said, immediately ending his rant. The storm overhead was thundering very loudly and the lightning was illuminating the entire area. All the Naruto clones that went to get wood and food returned, the food clones with some berries and rabbit and even some wild vegetables. Kiba skinned and cleaned the rabbits and Gaara made a fire for them. Everyone noticed that Gaara was sitting close to the fire and avoiding any rain possible that fell through the windows. Naruto and Kyuubi still hadn't returned. Ino was sitting near the doorway waiting. Kiba was about to say something, but this time Shino stopped him before he could. Tucci had started to make rabbit stew. Gaara, if you really don't like the rain that much, why don't you make a covering or something to keep the rain out, like a diagonal or something, Kankuro asked in confusion. Gaara looked at the windows and then smacked himself in the forehead. I can't believe I am listening to an idea, Kankuro suggested, but a good idea it is. Sand came up from the floor and covered the windows, stopping the wind and rain from entering but still allowing airflow. Where do you think Naruto is? Ino said in a sad voice. He probably got lost, but don't worry, Kyuubi is with him, he'll keep him safe, Shikamaru pointed out. Here Ino, come get something to eat, Shugi called. I'll wait for Naruto to get back, she called, not moving from the doorway. Everyone had eaten now and had found a room to sleep in and gone to bed. Except for Gaara, who was poking the fire, and Ino, who was still waiting at the door. Hey Gaara, Ino asked, her voice still full of sadness. Gaara continued to poke the fire but answered. Yes. Did Naruto really do what you said he did back at the village? Has he become that strong? Yes. I have no reason to lie. Okay. Ino was thinking even more of Naruto now and how far he had come. Gaara, can I ask you another question? You just did, but yes, you may ask another. Well, how come you don't sleep? Gaara sighed and stopped poking the fire. As you know, I have a demon lord sealed inside of me. The one-tailed Shukaku, demon of the sand to be precise. He is the weakest of the demons but still could take on any village. My demon is in a rage as a result of being sealed with a crazy priest. If I go to sleep, Shukaku takes control and goes on a rampage, thus I cannot sleep, and besides the chakra from Shukaku replenishes me enough to keep me awake constantly. He started to poke the fire once he finished. So can someone fix the seal? So far I have found no one that is able to, but I am always looking. Well, what about Kyubi? He seemed strong enough and I am sure he could help, Ino suggested. I will certainly ask him when he and Naruto return. Okay Gaara, could you do me one last favor? Ino crept over to Gaara and whispered something in his ear. I guess I could. I hope that Naruto doesn't get mad though, Gaara said as a room of sand on the top floor collapsed in on itself. Thanks a lot Gaara, Ino said as she gave him a hug. You are welcome, but Naruto will definitely be mad when he speak of the devil, here they are now. Gaara walked to the door and Ino shot up and ran to the door. Naruto's jacket was off and his pants were torn a little bit. He was dragging a huge net full of fish. There was enough fish to feed them all for a week. Naruto, what did you do? Ino yelled as she jumped onto Naruto, giving him a bone-crushing hug. Ino noticed Naruto's muscles and liked the feeling when he returned the hug. Well, Kyubi taught me a very old technique used to catch fish. It involves blocking the river with large stones that block a way for the fish to get by but allow enough for the water to continue through. You put your net over the rocks and wait. The fish naturally try to get over it and jump onto the rocks, which usually makes the injure themselves and thus keeps them there. You then pull your net in and remove the rocks. Well, what took you so long? A few missing nin stopped by and tried to take the fish and I had to beat them around a bit in order to get them to leave. Naruto, where was Kyubi? Shouldn't a demon lord have been enough to stop them? Hey, some demon lord he is, he's scared of rain, but here he comes now. Naruto's jacket was moving slowly along the ground until it reached the house and Kyubi jumped out of it and right into the middle of the fire. Ah, that's much better, nice and warm. Feel better now, Wimpy Fox, couldn't even help with the net. Naruto grumbled. Naruto and Ino both had their stew and talked with Gaara over ordinary things. Well, go to bed, I will watch the fish, Gaara said as hand of sand from his gourd came and dragged the net closer to the house. Sand then came and created a room around the fish, sealing it off completely except for a doorway from the house. Would love to, thanks Gaara, Naruto called as he stretched and yawned and walked to the other side of the room and turned back around. Hey Gaara, which room is empty? Naruto asked smiling. None. What, well, where am I supposed to sleep? Naruto called. With me, Ino said as she grabbed his hand and dragged him to her room. For all of you with impure thoughts, they didn't do anything, just shared a bed. Gaara sighed as he walked back to the fire and saw Kyubi laying down in it. Kyubi. Yay. My seal is not working correctly and is not allowing me to sleep properly. I feel it is from the crazed priest that is sealed within me as well. Is there anything I could do? Kyubi stretched and stood up. Where is your seal? Gaara lifted his shirt off and showed him the seal on his shoulder. Kyubi jumped onto his head and looked down at it. Yay, the priest being sealed as well definitely did something wrong, but is easy to fix. This might sting a bit. Kyubi did a long set of hand seals and finished quickly. Try elemental seal as Kyubi thrust his paw onto the seal. Gaara winced in pain as a symbol of a fire. Earth and water all appeared around his old seal in a triangle. There you go, the crazed priest is subdued and locked away, and he is definitely not getting out. Shukaku may still be in a rage, so try to go to sleep, and if anything happens I will stop him, okay? Okay. And Gaara laid down and started to drift to sleep. Kyuubi jumped down and stood right in front of Gaara as he went to sleep. Kyuubi closed his eyes and concentrated. Suddenly Gaara shook violently. He then sprang up and opened his eyes, yet they weren't Gaara's eyes, they were the eyes of Shukaku. Gaara sprung upright and sand began to swirl around him as he laughed diabolically. "Teamy to kill," Wu Shukaku screamed. Kyuubi opened his eyes and spoke in a commanding voice. "Shukaku, incarnate of sand and guardian of the desert, I order to you to calm down and release your control over this boy." "And why should I listen to you, little fox?" "Because I am Kyuubi, the nine-tailed fox, and I am ordering you to stop." "You lie. Kyuubi was much, much bigger, and you have nowhere near as much chakra as Lord Kyuubi." Kyuubi's chakra blazed from his small body, causing Shukaku to tremble in fear as everybody knew Kyuubi's chakra. "You doubt me, Shukaku?" "No, Lord Kyuubi, I just haven't been sane lately from that priest, and I was so used to taking control and killing. I am sorry, please forgive me," Shukaku begged. "Only if you never harm this boy again and help him train in his control of the sand." "Yes, Lord Kyuubi, I will." "Thank you, merciful Lord. Return to your cell. I need to speak with the boy again." "Yes, my lord," and Shukaku released his hold over Gaara, causing him to wake. "Why do I have such a headache?" Gaara complained as he held his head. "That is because I just a chat with Shukaku and he will no longer bother you at all. In fact, he is now going to help you with training and better control over the sand." "Really? That would be great. Thank you very much, Kyuubi," Gaara said as he bowed his head. "No problem at all. Just open up a bit more to people, they are your friends, you know." "I will try." "Okay, then go to sleep. Oh, and if you want to talk with Shukaku, then just think of being inside your head and speaking with a giant badger." "Okay." Kyuubi left the room and Gaara made a bed of sand that was comfortable for him and went to sleep. Man, what a terrible seal. He is lucky that Shukaku had not escaped completely. Must have been his will that kept Shukaku at bay. Kyuubi spoke to no one as he looked at the sky. "Ah, damn brat didn't give me enough chakra to last a night. Oh well, I'll tell him next time," Kyuubi finished as he poofed into smoke. Next morning. Naruto was the first one to wake and walked into the living room to see Gaara sleeping. Naruto thought nothing of it and went to get some fish for breakfast. Naruto walked into the fish room when Temari entered the room and stumbled upon a sleeping Gaara. "Ah!" Temari screamed out, causing Naruto to sprint back into the room. "What is wrong, Temari?" Naruto said while drawing a kunai from the floor. "Gaara is sleeping." "Yay!" And Naruto said, dumbfounded as he lowered the kunai. "You idiot! When he sleeps, Shukaku takes control of him and goes on a rampage." "Well, it doesn't look like that happened now, does it?" Shikamaru said before muttering something about troublesome women. "What are you doing up, you lazy bum?" Temari demanded. "Well, you damn screaming woke everybody in the house up." Kiba complained as he entered the room followed by everyone else. "I'll get some more fish," Naruto mumbled as he created some shadow clones to help him. Tucci made some fish cakes and everyone ate them, and Naruto made some more clones to wash and clean the pans. Gaara still had not woken up. Everyone by now had exited the house and was ready to go, but nobody dared wake Gaara up for fear of his wrath. "Well, what are we going to do? He might not wake up for a while and stuff, and who knows if he can find us?" Naruto answered. "Well, how is it that he went to sleep in the first place?" Shino stated. "Oh yay. I told him to ask Kyuubi about Shukaku and all, maybe he knows." Ino, Temari and Kiba were all frustrated now. "You knew that this whole time and never thought to mention it." Tamari screamed and Naruto was scared for his life, but luckily Tamari was being held back by Hinata and Tenten. Well, let's get the fox out here, Naruto said as if nothing had happened at all. Summoning jutsu. And a small puff of smoke erupted from his hand, but when it cleared it was not Kyuubi, but Gamakichi. Hey bro. Oh crap, wrong one, Naruto said, scratching his head. Naruto. Tamari was furious now. Alright, I'll see you later bro. And Gamakichi disappeared. I'll get it right this time. Naruto stepped back and did the jutsu again. This time Kyuubi emerged stretching and yawning. Hey kids, what's up? What did you do to Gaara? Tamari screamed. Oh him, I put him to sleep. How? Did you hurt him at all? No, I simply fixed his seal and calmed Shukaku. You mean you actually talked to Shukaku? Is that even possible? Kankuro asked. Of course it is, you idiot. Naruto talks to me all the time and I am talking to all of you, so don't you think it would be possible for him to do the same, let alone me? Kyuubi snapped. Okay, sorry, Kankuro replied as he took shelter behind Tucci. Anyway, Gaara is fine, just resting from no sleep in a long time, just carry him with you, I'm sure Naruto wouldn't mind. No problem. So Naruto created 100 clones, 30 to help with Ichiraku's supplies and 10 to carry Shugi, Neji and the sleeping Gaara, the rest got the fish. So how much longer is it to Wave Country, Naruto? Tenten asked, tired from the long trip. Actually, I am not entirely sure how much farther it is, but I am sure this is the way, Naruto hastily said, not wanting to feel Tenten's wrath. Why doesn't Neji or Hinata check with their Byakugan? Shino suggested. Everyone had noticed that Shino was talking more. I'll check. Neji is still injured, Hinata said as she made the seal used to use the Byakugan. Hinata saw trees and continued to look left. She came across a huge bridge that was in between the tree lines. It was straight ahead, just too far to see by the normal eye. The bridge is just ahead, about 1 mile. Hinata stated. Okay, then only about 4 miles to go. Then, Naruto said, taking the lead again, closely followed by Ino and the rest. Wait, Naruto, if Hinata said the bridge is 1 mile ahead, how come you said 4? Kiba asked, thinking Naruto's math was wrong. Well, it's about a mile to the bridge, but the bridge itself is 2 miles long, and then a mile to Tazuna's village. While that is a large bridge, probably peaceful, perfect place to watch the clouds, Shikamaru said in a joyful tone. The group continued until they got to the bridge. The bridge was very wide across, maybe 100 feet. On the left side of the bridge was a giant marble statue of Team 7 and gold-plated plaque. Naruto, look, it is you along with Team 7 inches, Lee said, stating the obvious. Thanks Lee, Naruto said. Kiba approached the plaque and saw the name. What? The Great Naruto Bridge? How did you get a bridge named after you? Kiba said, jealous because he doesn't have anything named after him, especially a huge bridge. Everyone looked at Naruto, who just smiled and scratched the back of his head. He. It was our first C-class mission that turned a class, and we had to fight off Zabuza Momochi, Demon of the Mist, and one of his companions. Kakashi almost died and me and Sasuke had to free him. We then killed them on this bridge later on. Wait, Zabuza as in Zabuza, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist? Tenten asked. Yay, the one and only. Did you get to see his sword, one of the heavenly swords? Tenten asked with stars in her eyes as she bombarded Naruto with questions about the sword. Tenten, we buried Zabuza and Haku on the other side of the bridge, his sword should still be there, Naruto said, causing Tenten to stop her many questions. Okay, then let's go. Tenten demanded, and all the guys instantly began moving, not wanting to attract Tenten's or any of the girls' wrath. It took them about 2 minutes to cross the bridge because of all the stuff Naruto was carrying. When they arrived, Tenten was looking at the graves of Zabuza and Haku and admiring Zabuza's sword. Wow, Naruto, do you think I could touch it? You would actually have to ask Tazuna, Naruto said. Halt, who goes there? said a villager who emerged from the forest with about 20 others. They were only armed with spears and swords, although the swordsmen looked as if they held some reasonable skill from the way they carried themselves and their swords. Yay! We are here to see Tazuna, Ten said as she backed up towards the rest of the group. Why are you here and how do you know Tazuna? Another villager said. Our friend was here before and helped with the bridge and stuff, Shikamaru said, stepping forward trying to avoid a battle. Shino pushed Naruto forward. Oh, I see, it is Naruto, said the lead villager as they all lowered their weapons. Well, are we allowed to see Tazuna? Naruto asked. Yes, right this way, and they villagers led the way to the village. If I may ask, how was it that you knew we had crossed the bridge? You apparently do not look like ninja, and if you were, that would be a huge task even for a powerful ninja. Shikamaru asked, wishing to know their trick. Simple. There is a seal on the bridge that lets us know when someone is on the bridge. Well then, do you come here armed every time someone crosses? Shino said, adjusting his glasses. No, the trick is the seal only alerts us if the bridge is being crossed by a number of people. The way we tell is the villagers are taught to cross in a single file, which the seal notices and stays inactive. When more than one person crossed spread out, the seal alerts us and we arm ourselves. The lead villager said proudly. If I may ask, that would be a very intricate seal. May I ask who did it? It was one of Naruto's friends, Jiraiya of the Sannin. He stopped by once and he did it for us as a favor, saying that Naruto would return it someday. A villager stated. Damn it, pervy sage, Naruto grumbled. Ah, here we are. The village was a lot bigger than last time. There was a simple wooden wall that didn't look like it would hold out anything more than bandits and animals. There were many more houses, but they were all 3 floors or less. There was a large building that stood out in the middle. On it was the symbol for waves. The land around the wall was full of farmland and woods. The village looked very prosperous. When they entered, the whole village was there to meet them. Tazuna was in the front with Inari and Tsunami at his sides. Naruto, how are you? It's been a while, hasn't it? Tazuna's deep voice bellowed over the crowd. Tazuna, how are you? It is great to see you and your friends, but may I ask why you are carrying equipment and injured comrades? Tazuna said. Well, we got fed up with our village and left. The damn council and villagers still hate me. Of course you can stay here. We all owe you a huge debt for helping us. Okay, well, we were sort of hoping to do more than just move here, Naruto asked, laughing. And what is that? We wanted to start a new hidden village, the village hidden among the waves. Well, that is up to the whole village, not just me, Tazuna said as he turned to his villagers. The villagers talked about it for a minute and they finally reached an answer of yes, and told Tazuna. Well, then it's settled. Besides, that would make us known and increase our economy more, although I am hoping you all have the manpower to do that. I hope you have thought it out, Naruto, Tazuna said, smiling. Well, not really, but that is what Shikamaru and Shino are for. I am just the manpower and fighter, Naruto said, smiling. Ah, Anara, have not seen one of them in a while, Tazuna said as he inspected Shikamaru and then on to the rest. Wow, Naruto, you really have a powerful group here. I mean, you have 2 Hyugas, an Aburame, Akamichi, Inuzuka, and I'm not sure if Blondie is a Yamanaka, but they have the same color hair. Tazuna said as he inspected all of them. How do you know all of this, Tazuna? Shino stated. I am a master bride builder, which means I had to be great at small details, and I traveled a lot, so I know the distinct clans. Wow, nice. You are smarter than you look, Kiba said. Haha, I am. Last time I was drunk, you know, Tazuna said. After everyone had met and talked with the villagers and moved into town, Naruto asked Tazuna a serious question. Okay then, when do we start? Tomorrow. You can start on the food and security, and Shino and Shikamaru can help me design the walls and more important buildings. Don't worry about money, we are very rich now, maybe more than some of the hidden villages. Damn, Wave Country was perfect, Naruto screamed out, and everyone smiled at Naruto as he jumped forward, everyone following. Everybody was gathered outside the village center and Tazuna was up on stage with Naruto and Shikamaru. The rest of the rookies were below in the first row. All of the wave villagers were gathered and standing waiting to hear Tazuna's speech. Naruto was smiling very happy, looking at all of the people. Tazuna took a deep breath before starting. Welcome, all of the citizens of Wave. Applause. Yesterday we were greeted by an old friend from before we were finished out magnificent bridge. And he has brought some of his friends. They are ninja from the village hidden in the leaves. Applause. They are here because there was an incident in their village in which they felt they were mistreated from a mission in which they completed but ridiculed for doing it from the villagers. They have decided to break off all ties with their old village and are now here asking asylum. Applause. Not only though do they wish to stay, but they wish to help us create a new village, one that is on par with the other 5 ninja villages. By now the whole crowd was being roused and their cheering increased as Tazuna grew near the end of his rant. I wish to create with all of you, a better place for us all, the village hidden in the waves. Tazuna finished with a smile from ear to ear. The crowd took a whole 5 minutes to calm down and stop their cheering. When they finished, Tazuna turned towards Naruto while still at the microphone. I give to you the hero of Wave, Naruto Uzumaki, Tazuna said as he stepped back leaving the stage to Naruto. This time everyone jumped and cheered louder than when Tazuna was speaking. Hello everyone, how are you? Naruto said before taking a deep breath and starting again. Well, like Tazuna said, we were hoping to start a hidden village here. But we may need your help on questions and other things, like location of housing and teaching is the area and anything special. Also you won't have to do any construction, but if there is anyone with any building experience or any skills that we are going to be doing, just let one of us know and we will see what you can help with, okay? Naruto finished grinning and scratching his head. The crowd cheered and Naruto smiled more. I have one more thing. I would like you to meet one of my friends. He has agreed to be the guardian of Wave as well. Trust me, when you meet him you will fear nothing. Also do not worry, I have complete control over him. The crowd was confused and the old Konoha ninja were smiling for they knew what was coming. Naruto jumped up into the air and bit his thumb. Summoning jutsu. The all too familiar huge cloud of smoke erupted from Naruto's hand. Kyuubi stepped down and quickly maneuvered his paws so he didn't crush any of the village. He let out a huge roar and looked down at the crowd. My name is Kyuubi, the 9-tailed fox, and I am asking to be your guardian if you agree. Kyuubi bowed his head to the ground in front of the crowd. The crowd was speechless and then a young child began speaking, Luki mommy big foxy, and she waddled over to Kyuubi's jaw and began to pet his nose. So soft mommy. Kyuubi then poofed back to his small 2-tailed form in a cloud of smoke. The little girl then gave Kyuubi a huge hug. This caused all the other girls to join in petting him. Naruto, help me, I don't think I am going to make it this time. Naruto just laughed and stepped down from the stage and stood next to Ino, who leaned against him and gave him a hug. Good speech, Naruto. Thanks. Tazuna stepped back to the microphone. We will start construction and any changes tomorrow, so prepare for better times ahead. The crowd cheered one last time and began to disperse. The young ninja gathered on the stage to talk again with Tazuna. So brat, you ready to start? Tazuna said. Of course I am. I'm always ready, Naruto said, raising his hand into the air. Alright then, Shikamaru, Neji and Shino, you guys are with me. We have to get something planned to keep Naruto busy tomorrow. I don't think Ino can handle him, Tazuna said as he began to walk towards his house. Yay. We definitely can't have him getting bored and messing everything up, Shikamaru said. I'm not that bad, Naruto pouted. Don't worry, I'll watch him, Ino said as she dragged Naruto towards the edge of town, followed closely by Kyuubi, who had escaped from the mass of girls. Kiba raised his head and hand ready to say something but never finished from the look Hinata gave him. So what now? Tamari asked. Well, I say while the two smart guys are planning we go check out the beach, Ten suggested. Sure, who's in? Kiba said, jumping in excitement with Akamaru. Everyone raised their hands except for Gaara, who said something about making the house again first. Oh no, you don't, you are coming with us this time, Gaara. Tamari said as she quickly grabbed him by the collar. You can make sandcastles and you won't have to get wet. After Tamari said this, Gaara's eyes quickly lit up and he picked everybody up with a mass of sand. Wait, don't we need swimsuits? Hinata said, causing everybody to stop and think about it. The girls smiled, but the guys all began to back away, but each were stopped by some girl. Shopping? The girls screamed out and the guys cringed. They all knew that they needed some clothes for their stay, so they went. Does anyone have any money though? Shugi asked. Everyone stopped and looked down. Guess it will have to wait, Shugi replied. Not to worry, Gaara has plenty of money he keeps within his gourd, Tamari said, giving Gaara an evil smile. Fine, but you can't take me with you shopping. All the guys were jealous because Gaara had found a way out. Stop and get me at the sand house, before you go, Gaara said as he backed away. No, just meet us at the beach, Tamari called back. Fine. Sneaky lucky bastard, Kiba grumbled. Well, we gotta go then, Shugi said as he drew a bag of chips from his clothing. Woo, let's go, 10 screamed as they each drug a guy behind them. Edge of forest. Ino and Naruto were walking through the forest. Ino decided to make a move and grabbed his hand. Naruto looked to Ino and she just smiled and moved closer, which caused them to walk at a slower pace. So Naruto, do you really think we can be on par with the other 5 major villages? Ino asked. Of course, especially since we will have new students to teach. We will skip most of the boring history stuff, just teach them about the major villages and then right to chakra and ninja skills. That would give us ninja quicker and make them more powerful at a younger age. Exactly. So Naruto, what do you think of you? Hey kids, hope you aren't doing anything naughty, Kyuubi said as he jumped onto Naruto's other shoulder. K-Y-U-U-B-I, Ino growled out, but thankfully for Kyuubi, Naruto gave her hand a squeeze, which calmed her down. Ha 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 ha, that was funny. Well, anyway, I am going to give you each a gift. I am going to teach you 2 as well as one other in an elemental style. Fire, earth, water, the 3 main elements. Yes, I know about lightning and wind, but they are minor elements just like grass and wood and so on. So who's getting what? Naruto asked. Well, brat, you are getting fire, dangerous and unpredictable. Girlfriend over there is water, graceful but deadly, and the third person is Lee, Naruto answered. How did you know? He has the best speed, stamina and body of us except when I use your power. Naruto pointed out. Yay, imagine Lee with more strength and power, Ino said. Whoa, that's scary. Exactly, and I also suggest that you create a ranking system that will be unique to this village, making it known across the ninja world, such as the 7 swordsmen of the mist. So what do you have in mind? Naruto asked. Actually nothing. Oh, great idea, there, Kyuubi. Well, what about colors? Something simple, Ino said. Naruto and Kyuubi looked to Ino. Simple, just like ninja ranks except colors instead, like red for Kage, blue for Junin, and so on. Well, that could work. Naruto is red, all of the old leaf ninja that came with you is blue, and then so on down the list. Also, you could have black for recon and assignation, and white for support and elemental or something. Nice idea. Naruto smiled and leaned on Ino, who was resting her head on Naruto's shoulder. So when do we start? Naruto asked, his voice eager. Well, first I am going to demonstrate, Kyuubi said as he jumped down and a smoke cloud engulfed him. When it cleared, there stood an older-looking man who stood about 6 feet 4 inches. He had a long red beard and long hair that stretched to his lower back. He was wearing black robes that had a sash that was the color of his hair. He was standing up straight for an old man and had a cane, but it didn't look like he was leaning on it. His eyes were red with black slits and he had pointed teeth. Whoa, you looked better as a fox, Naruto said, snickering. I'll have you know I look really good for 10,000 years, Kyuubi replied happily. Wow, you are really old, Ino stated. Shut up. Naruto and Ino couldn't hold it in anymore and started laughing. After 5 minutes they finished and Kyuubi decided it was his turn to have some fun. Okay, now that you two lovebirds are done. This caused Ino and Naruto to blush. I will demonstrate the styles. Kyuubi got into a simple position with his right arm forward and his left bent slightly. His feet were spread equally from each other. He closed his eyes and stayed like this for a few seconds. Fire Champion, Kyuubi said as he opened his eyes. His hands and feet were immediately engulfed in a burning flame. He demonstrated by striking a tree with a weak punch. The punch created a hole through the tree and the entire tree went up in flames. This style is extremely powerful and can only be countered by water or earth. The balance between the elements keeps one from becoming too powerful if anyone ever becomes corrupt. Thus they are always given in pairs of 3. By the way, no one has been given these powers in over 3,000 years. You guys are lucky, you are also the youngest to get these powers. Kyuubi then struck a tree with the water element activated and a waterfall sprang forth from the air and a perfectly round hole was through the tree. For earth he punched another tree. The entire tree shook and then shattered into billions of tiny splinters. Wow, they are that powerful? Naruto asked, starting to drool a little. Yep, and the best part is there is no learning. What then? Why doesn't everybody use it? Because you must be given the seal of the respectful elemental. So that's how it's done. You are granted a seal which grants you control of the element and then you just have to master it. Naruto figured out. Right. So do you want them now? Of course. Well, there is one problem though, Kyuubi said as his voice lowered with each word. What? We can't get it yet. There is an order. Do you have to be a certain age? No, nothing like that. It's just the seal has to be placed over your heart. So go ahead, Naruto yelled, taking off his shirt. Well, you're not the problem. Oh, I see now. Well, that is a problem, Naruto said, scratching his head. I don't care, but so help me God, if you do anything more than the method for placing the seal, you will die, immortal or not. Ino growled out in a voice so vile that it made Kyuubi flinch for a second. I promise I will not do anything more than what is required, Ino, Kyuubi said as he raised his right hand. Well, let's get started. Okay, Ino first, and I suggest you hold Naruto's hand. Naruto grabbed Ino's right hand with his and stood by her side. Here goes. Kyuubi once again closed his eyes and concentrated. Sacred elemental gift. Water. Kyuubi's right hand grew a bright blue. A flowing ball of water gathered around his palm. The area around them became mistier and the ground beneath their feet became wet with water that flowed around their feet. Kyuubi thrust his hand to Ino's heart. All of the moving water stopped and returned to the flowing ball around Kyuubi's hand. A seal bearing all 5 elements appeared, with water in the middle and the 4 others surrounding the water symbol. Ino was screaming out in pain and she squeezed Naruto's hand harder. After a minute the water around Kyuubi's hand dispersed and the area returned to normal. Ino fell backwards but was caught by Naruto. Kyuubi fell down onto his butt. Man, I forgot how much that takes out of me. I think I can give you yours, Naruto, but Lee's will have to wait for a couple hours. That's fine. Let's keep it a surprise. Naruto grinned as he laid Ino down and walked back over to Kyuubi, who stood back up. Just so you know, I did Ino's first because hers is the least painful of the 3. You got the most painful. Hehehe. Gee, thanks. Okay, here we go again. Naruto closed his eyes and braced himself. Sacred elemental gift. Fire. This time Kyuubi's right hand grew a vibrant red that sun turned into a burning flame that engulfed his hand. The temperature rose a couple degrees, and the earth beneath their feet cracked and steam and molten rock spewed forth. Kyuubi once again thrust his hand to Naruto's heart. Screams from Naruto were heard over the spewing earth and hissing steam. He screamed out in pain as the seal appeared on his chest. It seemed to be burnt on rather than through chakra. Again a seal with the 5 elements appeared with fire in the center and the others circled around. When Kyuubi retracted his hand, he put his hands on his knees and was panting. Naruto was lying back on the ground out of breath and Ino was still unconscious. Well, have fun, brat. Don't summon me for an hour unless it is important. I need to rest too, you know. And once Kyuubi finished, he returned to his cell inside Naruto through a cloud of smoke. Naruto crawled over to Ino and laid his head on her stomach and went to sleep. With the others. Thank God, Kiba said as he walked out of the store, arms full of bags. Akamaru, we're done. It wasn't that bad, we were only 4 hours, Tamari stated as if that wasn't a long time. Sheesh, you guys complain too much, Ten remarked. How is it that Naruto escaped this? I mean, his clones could have done all the work, and... Kiba was stopped from talking by Shugi, who put his hand over Kiba's mouth. Don't tell them that, idiot, Kankuro said. Yay. His clones, henge, as free, get the picture. Shugi said as he released Kiba. Ooh, I see now, Kiba said, chuckling. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go to the beach, Tamari said, jumping. Fine, let's go, Hinata said as she grabbed her bag with her swimsuit in it and ran ahead. Hey, what about Naruto? I will get them. We will meet you at the beach. Lee exclaimed as he sprinted off, kicking up dust. Meet you there, Lee, Kiba called. With Naruto and Ino. Ino awoke with a weight on her chest. She looked down to see a ball of yellow. Naruto, you wimp, Ino managed, laughing lightly. She gently shook Naruto and he awoke with a big yawn. He looked up to see Ino smiling at him. Naruto smiled back and then realized where his head was and began to get up, but was stopped by Ino's hand, who moved him from her stomach to her lap as she sat up. Well, I guess we are a lot stronger now, Naruto, Ino said, running her hands through his hair. Yeah, I guess we should try it out, Naruto said, again trying to stand up, but Ino stopped him. No, that stuff can wait. Let's just sit here, Ino pleaded. Sounds good. Besides, we should wait for Lee anyway, Naruto replied. I'm glad you thought of that, because you wouldn't be moving anyway, Ino stated matter-of-factly. They stayed like this for a couple minutes, with Ino running her hand through Naruto's hair. Hey Naruto. Yay. You know, I am kind of glad that you left to start this village. Why is that? Because it gives us more opportunities, and I get to spend time with you, she said, smiling down at him. Me too. Hey Ino. Yay. How come you are spending time with me and stuff? Naruto asked, dumbfounded. Ino blushed and bonked him on the head. Because you idiot. I love you. What? Naruto asked, confused as he had never been in this situation before. Ino, having known this from seeing Naruto grow up when they were younger, so she did the only thing that she could think of. She leaned down and kissed him. When she broke the kiss, Naruto looked back and then smiled. You idiot, Ino said, then kissed him again. Eventually Ino wound up on top of Naruto, kissing him as Naruto had his hands on her back. It was as this time that Lee found them. Naruto, Ino, we are all going to the beach and... I am sorry for interrupting. Ino rolled off of Naruto and stood up quickly, followed by Naruto. Sorry about that, Lee. Kind of forgot about everyone else, Naruto chuckled. That is fine, Naruto. but anyway the rest of us except for Shikamaru and Shino are going to the beach outside of town. I was sent to find you and tell you about it. Now that I have finished I must go. Lee turned to leave but was stopped by a shout from Naruto. Wait Lee, we got something to tell you. Well Kyuubi is giving us the power of the elements, I got water, Naruto got fire and you are getting earth. And besides, you don't have to learn anything, it's just mastery of you control of the element and ability to use it to your advantage. Naruto said. Yay. Kyuubi gave us some kind of special seal that gives us it, so we are going to get Kyuubi to give you your seal and then the three of us are going to be training to master it. Ino said. This is wonderful, thank you, this will help so much, Lee yelled out. Naruto put his hand on Lee's shoulder. Lee, this will probably make us the three strongest in this village, you are going to be my right-hand man, so be ready, and if you could not as much yelling. He pleaded. Thank you, Lee exclaimed again. Okay, let me get Kyuubi summoning jutsu. A poof of smoke and there stood the human-looking Kyuubi. Ah, Lee, are you ready? Yes, Kyuubi. Okay, take off your shirt. Lee complied and stood there with his eyes closed. Kyuubi closed his eyes and waited. Sacred elemental gift. Earth. Kyuubi's hand became encased in a layer of rock. The ground beneath them broke into millions of pieces and swirled under their feet. Lee was not screaming, just grunting and clenching his fists. The seal appeared above his heart and Kyuubi retracted his hand. Lee put his hands on his knees. Wow, I can already feel the earth beneath my feet, almost as if it is talking to me. Lee exclaimed. Ha! Well, looks like you three are already started. Now give me some time to rest, brat, Kyuubi said and disappeared after he finished. Okay, well, let's get to the beach, boys, Ino yelled, grabbing both of their hands and dragging them along. At the beach. The group had just arrived and the girls went to change. The boys were waiting for the girls so they could go in the water. Hey guys, Kiba barked out. Yay. What now? Shugi whined. I got a volleyball set, Kiba said, grinning as he pulled it out from one of the numerous bags. When did you get that? Kankuro asked. When I said I was going to the bathroom, I snuck into the sporting store and snagged one as well as a couple of frisbees. Kiba boasted out as he began to open the volleyball set. Nice one. Now let's get this up before they get back and want to go do something stupid, Shugi encouraged, setting down his chips and helping with the net. In 5 minutes the girls had returned to see the boys bumping the volleyball around to themselves and the net to the side of them. Where did you get that? Ten replied happily as she knew that she would win at volleyball. Not telling, and no, we can't play yet because we need Naruto to at least give us a chance, so let's go in the water first, Kiba said back as he set the volleyball down and sprinted to the water with Akamaru. Wait, where is Gaara? He said he was coming, Tamari demanded. Well, let's see, maybe the big ass castle made of sand over there isn't a hint, Kankuro mocked. They all looked over to see Gaara sitting atop a 4-story high castle made of sand with a courtyard on the top where Gaara was making smaller sandcastles. Hey Gaara, want to come in the water? Tamari screamed to him. Gaara just looked up and then down as sand formed into a no, and then dissipated. Come on everybody, Tamari said as she grabbed Hinata and Ten and dragged them to the water. Woo, the water is great, Kiba said as he was swimming away from Akamaru. They all made it into the water and were splashing each other and were messing around. Hey Kiba, come here, Kankuro called. Kiba swam over to him and Kankuro whispered something in his ear. Okay, let's do it, Kankuro said as he and Kiba slipped under the water unnoticed. The girls were all ganging up on Shugi, who was fighting back as best he could, but was still losing until Kankuro and Kiba made their presence known. Tamari and Tenten both went down under the water courtesy of the two boys. Kankuro and Kiba both surfaced and grabbed Hinata by her arms and legs. They tossed her up high in the air and she let out an eep, but in her descent she straightened right into a perfect dive and slipped down under the water without making any waves at all. Kankuro, maybe this was a bad idea, Kiba whispered as they eyed the three girls who had surfaced looking at them with daggers. Kiba and Kankuro began to back away and Shugi had escaped to the beach. God, please help us, Kiba pleaded. You both are going to get it now, Tamari growled out as she, Hinata, and Tenten advanced on them. We are going to die, Kankuro whined. Yes you are. Tamari never finished as something hit the water and a huge splash was left in its place that stopped the girls from attacking and saved the boys. Thank you God, Kiba called to the sky. Everyone looked at the spot of the splash and waited. Eventually Naruto popped back up smiling. That was awesome, I am doing it again, Naruto exclaimed as he hurriedly swam back to the shore. What are you talking about, Naru? Tenten asked but was again interrupted by another splash, though not as large as the other one. Hi girls, Ino said as she surfaced. What happened to you, and why are you being thrown through the air? Oh that, well look to the shore, Ino said as she started to swim around. When they looked to the shore they saw about 30 clones standing there with a large sheet and Lee was lying in the middle of it. 1.2. Point 3 and the clones threw Lee through the air, who only went about 20 feet and never made it to the water. Lee turned to the clones who were all panting. Lee, maybe you should take off your weights, we can't throw you with them on, you weigh too much, the real Naruto said. Okay, that will work I guess. Lee took off his weights and set them down on the ground where they immediately created a crater. Wow Lee, a little much you think? Not at all. It is almost time for me to move up another 100 pounds, Lee exclaimed as he got back onto the sheet to try again. Let's do this again. 1.2. Point 3 and this time Lee was sent soaring through the air waving his arms frantically, and when he reached the water he created a splash that was bigger than the others. Lee came back up and looked around only to see that no one was there, and they were all gathered on the beach. Lee quickly made his way back to the shore. The clones continued to throw people until they were out of energy and disappeared. So Naruto, more clones? Ino pleaded. Sure, but let's try everyone at once, he exclaimed. Sure. So Naruto created 50 clones this time and everyone got onto the sheet. Wait, I got an even better idea, Naruto said, chuckling evilly. He created 120 more clones and 20 morphed into an even larger sheet. The new set of clones grabbed this sheet and the old set got on top of this sheet. So the real people were on top of a sheet held by clones who were on top of a sheet held by clones. Are you sure about this, Naruto? Tamari asked, not liking the new idea. Yay, it will be even better, and besides we are going into the water so it won't really hurt much, Naruto said, getting ready. We will be all the way up in the air, you idiot, Ino bonked him on the head. She then scooted over to him and grabbed his hand. Hinata also moved closer to Kiba. Naruto began the countdown. 3, 2.1. Go. The clones on the first level tossed their sheet and then dispersed themselves. They all flew through the air up to about 200 feet. Then the next level of clones tossed the real ninja in the air. They flew up to about 500 feet. Ino had wrapped her arms around Naruto as they were in the air. Hinata was also holding on to Kiba's back. Tamari and Tenten had grabbed each other and Kankuro was spinning wildly. Lee was doing a cannonball waiting for the water. All the while the girls are screaming. They hit the water and a huge splash followed. When they surfaced all of them were laughing their heads off. Wow, that was great, Naruto, Tamari said. Yay. The rest of them said. Yay. So who is up for volleyball? Kiba asked. So everyone made their way back to the beach and was standing around waiting. So what are the teams? Ino asked. Well, of course it is boys versus girls, Tamari replied, getting into her spot in the back. Wait, it will be 4 vs 5 inches, Kankuro snapped back. I'll sit out. I think I am going to go make a castle with Gaara, Shugi said, sitting out. All right then, let's get it on, Tenten said, wanting to start. Okay, Naruto shouted. No ninja skills this game, Ino said. Fine, everyone chorused. Tenten served the ball to Naruto, who bumped it to Kiba, who hit it up high in the air for Lee. I got it, Lee said as he jumped up high. Ino and Tamari both jumped up to block it, and they sent it back at Lee, who had no choice but to let it hit him in the chest. The ball was falling through to the floor. Kankuro dove and saved it, and Naruto hit it back. The rest of the game went on until the girls finally won by 2 points. Okay, now we are using ninja skills, right? Naruto asked, jumping up and down. Sure, Naruto, Ino said back at him, sticking her tongue out. Okay, serve it, Kiba called. Tenten served it to Kankuro, who stood there until the ball almost hit the floor. A puppet popped up from the ground and bumped it up to the other puppet, who smacked it at the girls. Tamari whipped out her fan and flung the ball back. This time it went to Kiba. Kiba transformed Akamaru into a clone of himself and waited for the ball to get to the right height. Kiba bumped the ball up to Akamaru, cloned as him, who began their favorite move. Akamaru used a piercing fang, rushing the ball back and scoring. The game continued with everyone using their ninja skills. Eventually the girls came out on top, winning 18-10 thanks to Tenten chucking kunai at anyone who went for the ball. Damn it, we aren't going to win with Tenten's kunai and weapons, Kiba said. Don't worry, I got it covered, just play normal, you won't even see the kunai, Naruto called, getting ready. You sure about that, Naruto? Ino called back slyly. Yep. Okay, serve it, dog boy, Tamari said, wanting to get the cane over. Kiba served the ball over the net and the girls simply bumped it back. Lee was getting ready to hit it when Tenten threw her kunai. Mass shadow clones, Naruto called out, making a wall of shadow clones that stopped the girls from seeing, and any kunai thrown were deflected back. This continued until the boys caught up and were only down 1, the score being 18-17. I know what to do, girls, Ino said as she walked up to the front of the net and began her family jutsu. Valentine Jutsu. Inside Naruto's head. Ino entered Naruto's mind. She saw Naruto standing there waiting. Hi Naruto, sorry we can't lose to you, Ino said as she walked over to Naruto and looked him in the eyes. Well, that might work if that was me, the real Naruto called as he appeared behind Ino. What are you talking about? If that is you, then who is this? She said as she turned back to the first Naruto. Hey Ino, how are you? Kyuubi said as the first Naruto transformed into his human form. So what are you going to do? Ino said as she backed away from the 2 boys that were slowly advancing on her. Simple. I am going to keep you here until the boys win, Kyuubi smiled as he stepped in between the real Naruto and Ino. CYA in a few minutes, honey, Naruto mocked at Ino. She tried to run at Naruto but was stopped by a hand from Kyuubi. Sorry Ino, you aren't going back yet. Want to bet? Ino said as she swiped at Kyuubi, who ducked under the punch and smacked Ino in the back of the head with his cane. It didn't hurt much, just felt like little smack. Ino tried again and again to get out, but each time missed and was struck by Kyuubi. She attempted a roundhouse kick to his face and Kyuubi ducked and hit her in the back. Ino fell to the ground and stood right back up in the same position as before. Ino, you won't hit me, so please just wait. No, I am not going to lose to Naruto, she yelled as she aimed a kick, this time at his feet. Kyuubi sighed and simply changed to his 9-tailed fox form and wrapped Ino up in his tails. See, now this could have been a lot easier, you know, Kyuubi said, laying his head down to rest. Arg Naruto, you are going to get it, Ino said, trying to break free. Back at volleyball Naruto came back and told them that Ino was out for the rest of the game, so Naruto moved her out of the way. They then continued the game. The boys won thanks to Naruto's army covering the floor, keeping the ball from touching it. After the boys won, Kyuubi released Ino from Naruto's mind. Once she entered her body, she got up and hit Naruto over the head. "Cheater," was all she said as she walked next to him. "We won," Kiba yelled as he and Kankuro jumped around. "Frisbee time," Kiba asked. "I'm in," Naruto stated. Ino, Tenten and Temari also said they were in. The rest went back into the water. Kiba tossed the frisbee to Akamaru, jumped and caught it in his mouth and flipped through the air and landed on all fours. Naruto was trying to catch frisbees from the three girls who were ganging up on him. "Will you slow down? This isn't fair," Naruto said, catching frisbees and throwing them back while trying to keep them from hitting his face, until he summoned a couple of clones to help him out. After a couple minutes, the rest of the group had returned from the water and everyone packed up ready to leave. "Yay, yay, let's go back now," Temari said, upset that Naruto and his clones had beat them again. "Fine, let me get Gaara and Shugi," Kankuro said as he rushed off to tell them. The group was walking back to a clearing at the edge of town, where Gaara would build his sand house. "Hey, we need a name, since we can't be the Konoha 12 inches, Kiba said. "How about the Wave 13 feet, Tenten asked. "It will work for now, I guess," Naruto complained. "It will be fine, Kiba," Ino said. They arrived at the spot again and Gaara made the sand house again. They all entered and Lee went to find Tucci and Ayame and tell them where the house was, as well as getting Neji, Shikamaru, and Shino from Tazuna's house. Ino once again drugged Naruto into a room for themselves, and Tenten, Ayame and Temari bunked together with Hinata in a larger room. Kiba, Kankuro and Lee were going to share a room and so were Neji, Shino and Shikamaru. Tucci had a room to himself. Naruto summoned Kyuubi and let him sleep in the living room with Gaara. This time he returned to his two-tailed form and laid down in the fire after Gaara started one. They all went to sleep looking forward to the first day of building their new village. "Hey everyone, just to let you know, there are some spots that are supposed to be bolded but aren't. I do not know why they are just like that. It happens in both stories. I have it done in Word, but when I upload them they aren't bolded. So I am sorry if it gets confusing at points. Also it seems people like this story better, so I am working more on this one. Also another story is in progress. And school is starting soon, so updates may take longer, but I will not forget them. Whale Shark. Naruto was the first to wake and went out with Kyuubi to get something they could have for breakfast because Naruto was sick of fish. They returned an hour later with a bag of dead rabbits and a wild boar. On their way back, some villagers had given them some eggs. They woke Tucci and he made them breakfast. Everyone awoke to the smell of fresh meat and eggs. They then gathered in the living room to eat. "So what is the agenda for today, brain guys?" Naruto directed at Shino, Shikamaru and Neji. "Well, yesterday we did the basic things," Neji said from the sofa. "Today, Naruto, we are going to start chopping wood, and digging the foundation for the wall, as well as building more buildings in the city for administration and for new people as well as us," Shino stated as he adjusted his glasses. "Yay, the wall is going to be very complex. It is going to be about 20 feet thick, made of concrete. The main gate will be on the path from the bridge. There will also be a smaller secondary gate on the other side of the village. This gate is surrounded entirely by forest, so it will be relatively hidden. The wall will encompass the entire village, leaving out only the docks for the boats and the farmland outside," Shikamaru said as he put his plate down. "The wall will have wooden spikes at the bottom, and wooden spikes on the wall facing down that will prevent ninja from running up it. There will also be a large tower right inside the gate that will give us an advantage of elevation to counter anyone who breaks through the gate. Neji said. Wow, you guys got it all worked out, huh? Naruto said. Yay, and that is just the defenses. For housing we are going to build simple 4-story houses that have apartments inside. There will only be one large hotel, that will let us know where any outsiders are staying and we can keep an eye on them easier. Anything else? Tamari said. No, that is all we got planned for now, Naruto. The main things today are to chop down wood, and dig the foundation for the wall. Shikamaru pointed out the most important things so Naruto didn't forget. Kyuubi, there is a quarry on the other side of the island. If you, Lee, Gaara and Shugi could go there and get us some materials each day, that would be great. Shino said, showing a map of the island and pointed out the quarry. No problem, besides that gives me something to do all day instead of watch what Naruto does. Everyone snickered at Kyuubi's remark and Naruto threw a fork at him. I think I am going to get the wood from the other side of the bridge, that will give us more cover around here and keep the forest alive. Hey Kyuubi, do you think that I could get another fox to help with that? Sure, you could do that, and I am sure they will help. Well, I got that covered then, and I guess you all will lead 200 clones. Naruto asked. That is plenty, Naruto. Shikamaru will be planning with Tazuna and Neji again, and Shino will be overseeing the foundation construction so Naruto doesn't mess it up. And that's it for now, Shino said as he stood up. Okay, those plans are great, but you missed one thing, Naruto pointed out. And what is that? Shikamaru asked, raising an eyebrow. The new Ichiraku ramen, Naruto yelled out, followed by Ayame giggling and Tuchi smiling. Shikamaru laughed and smiled. How could I forget? I guess we can put it right next to the Hokage's office, he said as he pointed out the area on the map. Really? Naruto yelled out. Yay, yay, now quiet down, Shikamaru said. Sorry. We will get to that sometime today, so go ahead and get the other stuff done for now, Shikamaru said, exiting with Neji to go see Tazuna. Well, let's get started, Naruto said, exiting the sand house. Everyone smiled at Naruto's enthusiasm and got up and followed him to the yard out front. Naruto was in the middle and had his hands in the normal cross seal. How many clones per person did you say, Shikamaru? 200 is fine, he lazily replied. Okay, here goes, mass shadow clone. The entire area was suddenly covered in orange. Okay, I want 200 clones, taking orders from each one of them, got it? Naruto yelled, making sure all of his clones could hear him. All right, the clones yelled simultaneously. Everyone took their legion and went to their posts to start the day's work. Hey Kyuubi, how about a refill? Naruto asked. Fine, but I also need my 9-tailed form to get the quarry work done, so give me some more chakra next time you summon me, brat. Fine, Naruto replied, and Kyuubi burst into a cloud and re-entered his cage within Naruto. Naruto glowed red from the refill and then brought Kyuubi back out. Summoning jutsu, Kyuubi, and this time he was in his 9-tailed form. All of the villagers stopped their daily activities and looked up at Kyuubi, who was towering above them. They all smiled and went back to their routines, knowing there were good times ahead. Okay, who's with me? Kyuubi said, lowering his head. Lee, Gaara, and Shugi hopped on his head and got settled. CYA later Bratz and Kyuubi took off to the other side of the island. Naruto took off to the bridge and kept going. Everyone else left with their legion, and got to work telling the clones what to do. In 10 minutes Naruto had reached the other side of the bridge and was about 3 miles from the bridge when he stopped. Okay, time to summon someone big, Naruto smiled and bit his thumb. Summoning jutsu. A cloud of smoke erupted from his hand and a white 7-tailed fox stepped out. Who summoned me? The fox demanded. I did. Kyuubi gave me the contract, Naruto said to the fox. Do you have proof? Well, not really. I am his vessel though, Naruto thought of the only thing that might work. The fox closed its eyes and then opened them. This time they were leaking white chakra. I see, so you are his vessel, and you being the only human around must have been the one to summon me. Yay. Naruto shot back. Well, my name is Orion, I am the leader of the snow foxes, the fox said, bowing. Snow foxes? Are there different tribes of foxes or something? Naruto asked, confused. Yes, we are different in only the element we have better control over. I can control water, ice and earth to a small level. Well, I kind of summoned you because I am going to be chopping down a whole lot of wood for our new village, and I need your help bringing it back to the village. Naruto explained. That is no problem, I haven't had much to do back home anyways. Well, how do you expect to cut down all the trees? I could do it, but they wouldn't be any good to use. Don't worry, I got that covered. Naruto said, crossing his fingers in the cross seal. Mass shadow clone. And the entire area was now orange, brown and green. Orion just whistled. Wow, that is a lot of clones there, Naruto. Yep. My favorite move, and that was my chakra, not Kyuubi's, Naruto pointed out. I could tell. Kyuubi's chakra is a lot denser and more potent. Oh well, let me get the clones to work and then I will tell you what our plans are for the village. Naruto said. Alright everyone, listen up. We need to chop down this whole area into logs that we can use for buildings and stuff. Naruto started in his orders. He then went on to explain the lengths and sizes. After he finished, he explained to Orion their new village. Well, that is a great idea, especially with Lord Kyuubi being the guardian. Yay! We are going to be the strongest ninja village eventually, Naruto said while looking at his clones do the work. Naruto, may I ask you a favor? Sure, what is it? Well, my daughter, Miriam and her family are looking for a new place to live, for our territory has become cramped and there isn't much room anywhere else. There is Miriam and her husband Hector, and their family, which would be about 100 new foxes to come and live on the island with you. They would help your people as well, and Orion tried to continue but was cut off by Naruto. Of course, anyone with a good heart is welcome to come and live here. Thank you, Naruto. No problem, although I have one question, how are they getting here? Naruto asked, totally puzzled. You could do a mass summoning, but that would be hard because you might not get the right foxes. Orion thought for a moment, or Lord Kyuubi could open a portal. I like the Kyuubi opening a portal idea, easy, and we could do it away from the village. Naruto replied. Thank you, is tonight good then? Yay, I will get Kyuubi to do that, once we get back to the village with all this wood. Naruto replied. Of course, almost forgot about all that. Well, I think we got enough, Naruto said, looking around. The entire forest for a 1-mile radius was completely barren of trees. There was clones standing around and waiting for orders, as what to do next. Naruto morphed 300 clones into a giant leather mat, and then rigged it to Orion. Then the clones loaded him up with wood and he set off. Naruto created 2,000 more clones to get the rest of the wood and carry it back. Naruto jumped up onto Orion's head and talked the whole way home. Back at the village. Naruto and Orion walked back to find a dry river that encompassed the whole village. This would be the start for their foundation. Shikamaru had Naruto spread the wood around evenly, just like he did with Kyuubi and the rocks. The spot where the gate would be was dug even thicker and a little bit deeper. So Shikamaru, everything go good today? Yay! We got everything that was on the agenda done for today. Next is the harder stuff, actually putting the wall together. Shikamaru said while inspecting part of the foundation. Good job. Anyone seen Kyuubi? Naruto asked. He said he was going to hunt for something to eat and he would be back in an hour. Tamari called. Okay, thanks. Hey Shikamaru, could I talk to you in private? Naruto whispered at the end. Sure, Shikamaru said, leading Naruto to an empty part of the area. What is it, Naruto? Well, Orion's daughter and her family are going to be living here on the island with us, and I was wondering which side of the island you wanted them on. That doesn't really matter, although I have one question: are they going to be friendly towards the villagers? No, they are going to attack at first sight of anyone. Of course they are going to be friendly, Naruto screamed out at the end. Troublesome. Naruto, why are you so loud? Shikamaru complained, walking away. Because that was a dumb question. Well, I am hungry, Naruto said aloud. Well, then you are in luck. That was the first thing we did today, Shikamaru called. What did you do today? Naruto asked. Built and finished the new Ichiraku ramen, Ino said, walking up to him and entwining their hands. Woohoo, alright, anyone want to go? Naruto asked, running in place. No one raised their hands and Ino turned and began to pull him off to the new ramen stand. Orion finished dispersing the wood around the area and then dismissed himself to tell his daughter. The rest went to sleep in the sand house, all tired from the day's work, except for Lee, who began to run some laps around the village. Ichiraku ramen. The new ramen stand was a lot bigger than before. There was seating for well over 50 people, plus the stools at the counter. The walls all had different pictures of food on them, and what Naruto saw next made him jump for joy. There on the end of the counter was a different colored stool that had a plague with a picture of him on it. It said, "Seat reserved for Ichiraku's #1 customer." At this, Naruto jumped more and more, and Ino just smiled, standing there waiting for him to finish. Teuchi and Ayame emerged from the kitchen from the noise and saw Naruto jumping around. Must have found his stool, Teuchi whispered to Ayame, who just giggled. So Naruto, what can I get for you? Teuchi asked, still holding his ladle. The usual, fill it with everything, he said from his stool. And for you, Ino? Ayame asked. Just a vegetable one is fine. Their food came and they began to eat. Naruto was already on his 7th bowl. So Naruto, do you think we should start testing out these new powers? Ino asked. Naruto finished a mouthful of noodles before answering, yay, we should get to that sometime soon, right after we are done here then. Sounds good, but we will need to find Lee. I got it covered, Naruto said as a few puffs of smoke appeared behind him and the clones all set off to find Lee. Naruto returned to his ramen as Ino just sat there talking with Ayame. Outside of village in forest. Naruto, Lee and Ino were all sitting on the ground around a stump. On top of this stump sat the human-looking Kyuubi. He had both hands on his staff and began talking. These powers will make you stronger than anyone else. Now this does not mean to stop your regular training, which you must still do as well. This training is just as important. The seal will restore your energy gradually. This will basically make your body need 2 hours less sleep, giving you time to train. Naruto, Ino and Lee all moved their hands to their seals and looked up at Kyuubi, who had a smile on his face. All right, stand up. The first step is to gain the trust of your element. Trust? Naruto asked. Yes, you must gain power over an element from the element itself. Kyuubi said in a sage-like voice, while the other three growled at him. Okay, hold out your hand and concentrate on your element. Envision the element in your hand. The three stuck out their hands and began. The air around Ino began to become mistier and then water began to drip out of the mist to form a ball of swirling water in Ino's hand. Ino opened her eyes at her accomplishment. The water then began to flow all around her body, jumping around making her giggle. Nice work, Ino, your element trusts you. Naruto and Lee were still concentrating. The earth around Lee suddenly shot up, encasing him in a ball of earth. The earth then began to crumble away, turning to sand, which then flowed to Lee's hand. Then the sand turned back into a chunk of rock with sand flowing around it. Good Lee, you have its trust as well. Come on Naruto, you are the only one left. I'm trying, he grumbled out. Naruto's hand burst into flame, encompassing his hand completely. The flame then turned a darker shade of red and began to drip off of his hand, still burning and flaming. The ground around Naruto opened up and molten rock spewed forth, flowing around his feet, but not burning him at all. Wow, brat, the element has better trust in you than it does in me. Kyuubi said, amazed. Naruto put on his fox smile. Well, now all you have to do is feel the element and imagine what you would like it to do. I suggest trying something small first, like swirling it around or turning into a specific object. Ino quickly thought of Naruto and the water in her hand morphed into a small replica of Naruto. Wow, Ino, you are a lot quicker in this than the other two. Take that, Naruto, Ino said as she stuck out her tongue. The earth in Lee's hand turned into a replica of Guy and it made a good Guy pose. Alright, I got it, and I miss Guy sensei, Lee cried out. Ha! Naruto, you are last again. The fire around him turned into a large ball of flame, which he held in both hands. It then began to become round. Naruto laughed as he held a bowl of ramen made from fire in his hands. Ahahaha, I can't believe he made a bowl of ramen and not an image of you, Ino, Kyuubi said, holding his sides. Naruto, you are so predictable, Ino said, sighing as she knew it was futile to get an answer out of him. Well, it seems you three have a natural ability to control your element aside from the seals. This will make it much easier to wield this power. You three have also progressed extremely far. Most people take a couple of months just to gain the trust of their element. So I am guessing in about 5 months you will have a good level of control over your element. Kyuubi, why 5 months? Lee asked. Kyuubi smiled, showing his canine teeth. That is when the next Chunin exams are. Really? We are going to go? Naruto asked, still practicing with the fire in his hands. Yes, I think you should go and show them that the new village hidden in the waves is not to be messed with. This will also allow us to show off, which will get people to give us missions instead of the other nations. Ah, so basically it is to get recognition, Ino said, juggling the water in her hands. Precisely. I figure that is the best way to show our power. Yes, but what if one of the other villages decide to attack our village when we are not done fortifying our defenses? Naruto asked. Ah, you forget about me though, brat. No one will attack once some unlucky fool finds me. Yay, I really wouldn't want to be that guy, Naruto said, laughing. But then who is going to be our sensei? Ino asked. I guess Orion will have to take a vacation on the island when we go. Well, that was settled quick, Naruto remarked, still amazed at the fire around his hand and not burning him. Exactly. Also, I have another idea for the village. I would like to place a seal over the island, and on each citizen of Wave. It will allow us to see anyone who is a fake, because they will not